recording. We'll get started. All right, awesome. All right, well, thank you all for being here tonight. Tonight we have my very special friend, Cameron. We actually just connected even just 2 months ago, and we talk weekly, sometimes daily. We connected through the Sprint Leaders Retreat. We became a part of a Power Partners group, and it's been awesome. And I love being encouraged by her, and so I wanted her to share her excitement with all of you. So I'll tell you a little bit about Cameron. She's a senior Ruby ambassador, born and raised in Austin, Texas. She once took a road trip across the West and everything changed for her. She sold her Pilates studio and moved to Utah so she could hike, climb, canoe, and just do adventures. Her freedom is so important to her that's why she's doing Plexus as a full-time job. Spreading the health and wellness and just opportunity with Plexus is what she and her boyfriend Mark are doing. So right now she lives in Salt Lake City, and they're building a team and just adventuring and having fun. So tonight, Cameron's going to share with her something special, or with us, something special that she's come up with, and I absolutely love it. So take it away.
Well, that's so nice. Thank you very much. If you guys don't have a power partner yet, you got to get one, because it is so nice to be able to connect with teams across the nation, different people, and realize that, oh, it's not just me, it's everybody else. So when you realize that the ups and downs and the cruises and all this, that everybody's going through it. And it's nice to have somebody to be able to do that together and go see each other at events and hug each other and be like, yeah. So it's awesome. You got to get yourself 1 or 2 or 4. As many, that's nice. You can have as many as you want. Mm-hmm. I came back from convention really pumped out. We had a good talk at our senior Ruby thing about positive mindsets and things like that. And I had never really thought, that whole power of positive thinking thing. I was like, oh, whatever that means. I just never applied to me. I'm positive, whatever. But that whole talk, I remember Kelly Norman talked about how it was going to change my life. I was like, we'll start making those kind of claims and stuff. But it was amazing to think that. And I came back from that, and I put myself in a mindset boot camp, because I've realized when you want to do this business, you have to put yourself in a good mindset. I went into a John C. Maxwell mindset boot camp, and I just spent like 3 hours listening to that and getting all that. And from there, I became so impassioned with being positive and having a mindset. You got to get that mental floss out, and floss out the doubt, the insecurities, the fear, the objections, the rejections, and you have to get all that out. You just got to get that mental floss. And I realized that our thoughts, this is from John C. Maxwell, I'm not this smart, are the paintbrush of our mind, and you have to have positive thoughts. And I know this has been told to us for many years, and it never applied to me until it did. And the day you realize that really does apply to you, it will change your life, when you realize that these things do apply to you. So I recommend, you can find my YouTube channel, Cameron Plexus. I have a watch list called John C. Maxwell. I don't care if you get in the corner with some, blocked before you eat ice cream and just listen to 2 hours of that, or if you get on the treadmill or you take a drive, whatever you need to do, put yourself in a mindset boot camp, because that changed everything for me. And learning about his attitude, but that's I just put a list of that. And when I need it, I might fall asleep to it, because we constantly have to be reminded to be positive. It's not just Plexus in life, and it's amazing how much it transforms over to your other part of your life. And then you end up attracting more people to your business. Win-win. And through all that, we came back, and I started doing coaching calls with my team and talking to them, and I realized they felt really, really overwhelmed. We were come back, we're like, edge block, this, leadership retreat, and they're all like, what? Calm down. And I realized when people get overwhelmed, they shut down. I know I do. When I have a lot of stuff to do, it's just easier to do none of it than any of it, right? And so I started just thinking about this. They're like, I work full time. I get home from my commute. I eat. I sit down, and I'm ready to do Plexus. Are you ever there? Raise your hand. You're sitting down on your computer. You're ready to do Plexus, and you have a million notifications. And you're like, oh, what am I going to do? And it's exciting, but people work and have things going on. And so what do you do to kind of prioritize, right? So I came up with the 4 pillars of consistency. And I will preface with this, that I know that consistency is not sexy. It isn't. Nobody goes to the tattoo shop and be like, I want a tribal tattoo of consistency right here. Just go ahead. But it works, right? So anyway, I get made fun of that a lot on my team. They got me a necklace that said consistency. So I have made it sexy. Champion. So what can you do on a day-to-day and weekly basis to be consistent? Because your friends and family know when you're consistent. When you start taking your doses, you don't take your slim one day and then nothing for 3 days and then do it again for 2 days. We talk about being consistent on the product. So you've got to be consistent in the business. And when you set that mindset of consistency for the business, just like you took your probiotics, because I don't know about you, but I don't care where those probiotics are in the house. If I lay down before bed, I'm going to get up and get them. I've learned that the hard way. So you got to do that with your business. So the 4 pillars of just kind of narrowing it down when you log in and there's this initiative going on in this event, in this group, what can you do to focus on what's really the bread and butter of your very personal Plexus business? And that the 4 pillars is posting, IPA, self-development, and following up. And these are the 4 things that you need to sit down. And you know what my goals are for my pillars aren't going to be your goals. Or if you look and you say, okay, this is July and I'm going to be going to Disney World and I'm taking a cruise. Okay, you don't want to check out, but what is realistic? Saying, you know what are goals for you? Set yourself some goals. Like July is really busy, so my goal, I'm going to post 4 times. I'm going to reach out to I'm going to do 5 people this week. I'm just going to sit down, 5 people. I'm going to watch 1 diamond documentary. And I'm going to follow up with a group of people. And then August might be like, hey, my kids are going back to school. I'm going to post 7 days a week. I'm going to do this. So your 4 pillars are going to change, but it's always important to look like, what does my life look like right now to make sure I can accomplish this? And as far as posting goes, you've got to post. If you don't post on Facebook, your friends just know. It's like they've got waves. If you stop posting, they think you've quit and just hate Plexus now. You've got to post. And whatever it is, I talk to my team, and some people are ready to post once or twice a day, and some people aren't comfortable with that. And I've always been very okay. If you're not comfortable posting every day, I'm not your boss. You don't have to. I encourage it, but if you're not ready for that, that's fine. And I say if your goal is 3 times, great. What is that pillar going to be? Is it going to be on Monday nights, Thursday mornings, and Sunday afternoons? Whatever it might be, set that goal on posting. And I know posting for me is a very personal thing. I don't copy and paste and do stuff. I want it to be really applying to me. I might not have time if I'm running around. I was just doing some canyoneering in Ouray, Colorado. I knew I was not going to be like sitting there thinking about posting that week, but I knew I needed it to get done. So what did I do? I sat down, I said, okay, I want to post 4 times. I'm going to be there for 5 days. I'll post 4 times. And for what works for posting for me is when I'm going about my daily business and I notice something that Plexus has done for me, I take a picture of it. Like if I've gone to the grocery store and I have all the groceries on the floor and I think, man, this used to make me exhausted to come home and do all this. I'm so glad actually Plexus helps me with that energy. Take a picture of those bags on the ground and be like, I'll make a post about that soon. But you have like a catalog of pictures, or if you walk by your lunchroom and there's cupcakes that you used to eat, take a picture of the cupcakes. Save it for when you're ready to post. Just start getting a catalog of things that you notice what Plexus does for you, whether it's really small or it's really big. One time I even took a picture of my drool on my pillow because I sleep so well, and I posted that, So I keep a backlog of everything. I actually even made a post because I used to have a whisker right here, a hormonal whisker named Edward. Edward's gone. So I took a picture of my chin. So you can make a post about anything you want, and it doesn't mean just because you take a picture then you have to post it right then. But it's nice that I can log in and be like, what do I want to talk about? Oh yeah, the cupcake, and you can make a little post on that. So I don't have to think about it or go dig up a picture or find a graphic. I have something in my phone that relates to Plexus. And one of my young bucks on my team taught me about an app because I'm really bad at apps. It's called Buffer. And you download it and you can plan your post in there. You can sit down on Sunday evening and just copy and paste your post in there. A lot of times if I see a really cool article kind of circulating Plexus, you can find that article and set it to post in 2 weeks. So it kind of gives some space. So you can plan out 3 months worth of post if you want. And I love that if you're an app person. My upline, which really this works better for me because I'm not very technology savvy. Zoom was a big challenge for me when I first started. She emails, so she'll sit down on Sunday evening, that's her night, and she gets a calendar out and says, Monday I'm going to post about gut health, Tuesday about Plexus Slim, Thursday about energy, I'm going to post about the business opportunity on Friday. And what I like about that is you can kind of see like, okay, I'm not talking 4 days in a row about gut health. I'm diversifying. And she writes the post and emails it, Monday's post. And it's all in an email. So when she's ready to post, she just can copy and paste it into her thing. So those are some tips I've given my team. You know, I've got prosecutors and teachers on my team. They're not sitting there, you know, able to post all the time. So make ways, you've got to post. And I always recommend at least 3 times a week at the very bare minimum. People, it's like a billboard. You might not see, you know, driving by. So you need to make sure, you know, your teachers, if you're posting at 10 a.m., they're not going to see it. But if you post Sunday night, they might see it. So that's the very bare minimum I try to encourage people, if not 5 or 6 times, you know, because you think people are looking at you and be like, that's the crazy Plexus lady. And while you know you are, they don't know it because they're not seeing it. They're at work, they're on vacation, they don't see it all. So it's good to diversify. But that's one of the pillars is posting. And it's just so important to make sure and post about the little things that Plexus has done for you, like your Edward, if you don't have an Edward, or your drool on your pillow, 2 inches lost. You want to really show people, you know, Sarah Robbins, who's the most amazing network marketer trainer ever, always says stories sell, facts tell. You know, when I first started, I'd be like, well, chromium is derived from potatoes and broccoli, and you need this much in a day, and it's deprived when you work out. And people are like, I was like, it's chromium. No, you want to tell people what it's done for you. Find the little things. So posting is just a really important thing, and you don't want to go on vacation and check out and not post. While you're on vacation, if you don't want to mess with, if you've already got your post set like on Buffer or emailed, take pictures on vacation. You can post about your vacation the next week. I do that all the time. So posting is one of the pillars. The second one is IPAs, or income producing activities. I firmly believe you can't just post and pray. You can't make a post and hope like magically you'll become diamond and life is great. You know, I wish that happened, but it doesn't. You have to find a way to reach out to people. And I'm a very strong proponent on my team. If you're not comfortable cold messaging people, I'm not going to make you cold message, because again, I'm not your boss. You're your own boss. So it's about what you're comfortable with. So I think it's very important to reconnect with people. So you think about your 8th grade best friend you played Foursquare with, and you think, I really think she'd be great at this business, but you haven't talked in 5 years, you're not going to want to send her a message. Be like, yo, you want to be on my Plexus team? They're going to be like, I don't. Thanks, though, if you even get a response, right? But if message them and say, hey, you know, I heard you got a new puppy. I saw you got a new puppy. It's so cute. Do you like it? Or, hey, you just went to Puerto Rico. Or, hey, can I ask you a favor? You know, what is this? I saw that you were just here. I'm going to go there. You know, just find a way to make a connection with them. That way they might tune into your post and then contact you. Or maybe it comes up in conversation. Or maybe after you get that dialogue going with them again in a few weeks, you can come to them and be like, you know what, I was just thinking randomly just now, not 4 weeks ago when I messaged you. You would be great for my Plexus team. So it's just important. I think in those IPAs, you do want to be cold messaging people. And that's something that is a good thing to talk to your upline about. Like, what are you comfortable with? It sounds scary. It sounds bad. It sounds used car salesman, but it really isn't. So many people I reach out to me as like, you know what, I've been seeing your post. Yeah, I want some Plexus. And they just didn't message me. So it's good to diversify reconnecting with people and cold messaging people. And I have people on my team that say, I can't cold message. And I was one of those. I would not do it for a long time, but I would reconnect with people, and it just helps people see it. So as far as the IPAs go, just think, okay, do I want to do 3 a day? You know, I have somebody's goal right now. They want to hit, they're trying to hit senior goal next month, and they need to sign 10 people like in 4 days. And I was like, okay, let's make a plan for that. And I said, she does 3 people every day. Well, when you're trying to do a bunch, you're going to have to add more. So now she's doing 20 until the end of the month. And that's what her goal is. And then she's going to go back to doing 3 because that fits her schedule. But she's driven right now to do a goal. So I think it's important to just think about what you want to do that week. Set it the week up. Like, okay, this week I'd really, we have a special going to go on. We have a blitz. I'm going to reach out to 10 people because I want to get more. But next week I'm going out of town, so I'm probably only going to send 4 messages out. What I also like about the reconnect method, if you see on Facebook just something random that catches your eye, message people about it. It makes you more social. I have a tendency to introvert, so this is making me so much more social and reconnecting with people, and it grows your network that you have this Facebook network, and by reconnecting with people, messaging them, developing that bond, you're expanding your network that you already have. So that's one of them, is the IPAs, and just whatever it might be. Another IPA tip I have is I never post on people's Facebook wall happy birthday. I always message them privately. I've gotten 5 ambassadors within 24 hours that way by just sending a message like, hey, happy birthday. Are you doing anything fabulous today? Most people write back, thank you. Actually, no. Okay. And you get in that dialogue. And then people be like, I've been meaning to ask you about Plexus. I'm like, oh, that's weird that you asked about Plexus now when I sent you my birthday message. But it really works. And that's a great thing. That is my number one thing on vacation is I send my birthdays because I know I can do that. I know I can wake up. Facebook gives you those things. And I send a message. All you have to do is happy birthday. A lot of little fun emoticons. What are you doing for your birthday? Get the conversation going. And that's a free reconnect right there. So that's something I do every day. I don't care where I am or what I'm doing. That's what I do. And the next pillar is self-development. This goes back to what I was talking about, the mindset thing. And I'm a senior Ruby ambassador right now. I didn't start, okay, this is bad, but I didn't start self-developing until about Ruby. And I wish I would have started earlier. I'm pushing this with my team now because if you develop a positive and happy mindset at the beginning, it's going to help you through so much more. And when you're positive and happy and take stress out of things, people are going to come to you. That law of attraction by John C. Maxwell. People are going to be attracted to you. So a few things for self-development. There's a book called The 4 Colors of MLM Personality. Like, I remember reading 3 sentences. I was like, oh my God, why didn't I read this forever ago? Like, go get that book and read it. And you realize that you don't just learn how to talk to your potentials. You learn how to master manipulate your husband into dishes. You learn how to, it's just such a valuable thing in life. It's called The 4 Colors of MLM Personality. It helps you motivate your team. It helps you talk to potentials. It's just great. And it also makes you realize that we're all different. So, like greens are information people. They are slow to make decisions. They need information. They want data. They want facts. They want everything. And when I know I have a green, because it's very clear, because they're asking you questions like, how many milligrams are in some? And you're like, So you got a green, and they take a long time to make a decision. You're like, it's okay. They're just a green. You don't get stressed out about it. You just know they're greens. They take a long time to make a decision. It's great. And so it helps you kind of give you that patience and how to talk to people. So I recommend that book, the 4 Colors of MLM Personality. I recommend the Go for No book. I recommend that's 4 Colors of MLM Personality book. The guy has a follow-up book. And I remember buying that book, like just on my high horse, like, I don't need that. I know how to follow up with people. And that book has changed everything. I actually only read 2 pages at a time because he gives me such good advice that I want to read those 2 pages and I immediately go try to implement it. One of the most recent ones is how I now get back white lines is when you ask people a favor, they're more willing to ask me. Who knows what the witness protection program is for Plexus, where people go away from it and into the witness protection program, never to be seen, heard, or anything again, even though they are seeing your messages. I'm really worried about those people most of the time, but that book taught me to ask me like, hey, you know what? I'm not here to bug you about getting back on. I want to know, I'm trying to grow my business. I want to be able to help other people. Help is a yellow person, by the way. That is a good code word. It would really help me out, and it would be a huge favor if you could just tell me like a review of what happened, so I can help other people with it. Most people are wanting to give that back, and they'll write back, and they just told me exactly what I needed to hear. Well, I only took it 3 weeks, so I didn't see results. I'm like, hell, you just gave me exactly what I needed to hear. So learning that early on, you're not winging it for a while until you start reading these books is great. And then it's also important to John C. Maxwell, that 21 Laws of Leadership is great. You realize all these things and you start training yourself, and it's paid off not just in Plexus, but in life for me. So, and then self-develop to me is also going to all our amazing jewels and diamonds and listening to their training. Learn while you burn. Get on the treadmill. And I have a little Plexus watch list, and I just I don't have time. You click, you see that video, like, oh, I really want to watch that right now. I don't have time. I click that on there. And so when I get on the treadmill, I try to make it a habit of just listening to a 5-minute video and get your mind in there. It's that mindset. It's like you're getting ready and pumped up for the race. That's what those self-development is. You don't just show up for a triathlon and start going. You're getting your mind, you're going, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm preparing for. So it's really priming yourself for that. So Self-development, I just ask people, what's your goal? Like, do you want to read a book a month? Do you want to read this book this week? Do you have 30 minutes to spend a week on videos? And that's just a good one. Like, okay, well, I'm going to go out of town. I'm actually going to be driving, so I'm going to listen to an hour this. And self-development is such an important pillar that a lot of people just ignore, but it, to me, is one of the most important ones. The other one, and another majorly important one, is following up. I don't care if it's follow-up Friday, follow-up Monday, follow-up Tuesday, whatever your follow-up day is, you've got to follow up in your mindset once a week. It doesn't mean you go to your list. You know, if I went to my list, and you don't want to follow up with people every single week to try to get them on the fence, but whatever, I'm going to follow up with 3 people this week. I'm going to follow up with a potential. I'm going to check in with an ambassador of mine. Make sure you don't want to forget those ambassadors. You want to check in with them. You know, are you reaching your goals? You want to stop getting white lines? Check in with people and say, hey, your goals aren't being met. What are you having a problem? Well, I'm having an energy issue. Why don't you try Edge? Well, then you just saved yourself a white line, because they have Edge now, and they aren't going to quit because they're going through Candida die-off and have no energy. So following up is important, because you have to follow up with your current ambassadors. You need to be following up with your customers. And you also want to follow up with your potentials. And that has to happen every week. You've got to follow up. You might have some Fridays that you like sit down on your potentials list and send out 100 messages, and some Fridays you might do 3. So those are the 4 pillars to me, is just finding a way to post whatever your goals are. You know, this is, you know, it's your business. So you got to find, what are your goals? If your goals are to hit gold in 2 months, posting once a week's not going to cut it. And that's what I would talk with my team. I'm like, well, what are your goals? My goal is I would like to sign 3 ambassadors this month and hit gold next month. Okay, your pillars are going to look different based on your goals. If your goal, like, I want to get to emerald and diamond as fast as I can, so I set doable daily activities, but not something that is going to take me 8 hours a day. But if you know you're going through a weird time, and you know you've got family in the hospital or you're moving, what do you need to do to keep your goals happening? So again, that's posting, finding out ways to, how many times a week you want to post. It's your income producing activities. I count cold messaging as well as reconnecting as income producing in my book. Self-development, which is reading MLM books, studying MLM. It's reading John C. Maxwell's. I have a great video in my watch list. If you go to Cameron Plexus, John C. Maxwell, the attitude one is really great. It's about, I think it's only 30 minutes or less. But he's got a conference he did at the Nexum conference. It's a 50-minute video, and that video changed my life. It changed my life, and it turned it on in me. And I just think those are so important. And then diamond documentaries, learning from it's so important to go learn from all the jewels you can. Just click on their YouTubes. Everybody's got different tips. It's very important for that. And then following up, you've got to follow up. It's the most important activity you can do to follow up with potentials. You need to follow up with your current ambassadors. Even if they've been an ambassador for 8 months and they're loving the products, follow up with them every 6 or 8 weeks, because you never know, because they might have a new goal, or you can just check in with them. You know, happy wholesalers, don't check them off your list and pretend that they're going to be around for a while, because that's when one day you log in, you're like, white line? Why are they love Plexus. And they go, oh yeah, well, whatever. And maybe if you had followed up with them, you could have gotten them on the vitamin or something. So following up is really important, and learning how to follow up. That's why I love that follow-up book by, I think it's Big Al. He does the 4 colors, and just giving tips on that. I've been doing a new thing following up for all my witness protection people, and it's working out pretty well, where I go back and I look at their goals. Like if they're like, I'm bloated all the time, whatever. I look through it, I turn the phone around, and I do like a 90-second clip. The other day I sent a message, I go, I just want to let you know you told me that you feel bloated all the time. I know the timing isn't right now, but I'm excited for you because I wore jeans all day today and I'm still wearing them, opposed to coming home and ripping them off and putting my sweatpants on. It's so great to not feel bloated all day. You know, I wanted to share this with you when the timing is right, and I sent that video to them. People will click open a video, and it's something that you're talking just to them. And a lot of times people write back, all right, fine, I'll take it. I don't want to be bloated anymore. So I just told them a story in their video. They get to see my heart. They got to see me talking, and they don't feel like a number. So that's why I like that follow-up book. It gives you little ideas of how to do things rather than, guess what, I got another special. It gives you other ways to do things. So yeah, those are my 4 pillars. Consistency is not sexy, but it works. And And I think our grandmothers always said consistency is key, right? And it's just finding a way to be consistent in your life, whether you're a prosecutor that works for a state and works all the time, or a teacher or a stay-at-home mom. You got to find something that works for you. And these pillars, I like to address on a weekly basis, like what's going to work for me this week. And that's what I work with my team, is just what are your goals this week? Make them achievable, but also pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Be like, don't just say you're going to post and do that. Try to make achievable goals that will also put yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone to help yourself grow. So those are my 4 pillars of, I'm just going to get a tattoo right here. Is there tribal tats of consistency? Do you get a tribal or a little Chinese signal? That's
you joke about it, but when you're a diamond, you know your team's going to make you do it.
I know. Well, I was like, do they like walk in and be like, hey, what's the Chinese symbol for consistency? You know, it's not hope or
right.
Journey. It's like consistency.
It's right. It's so true. Well, can we open it up for some questions? If anyone has a question for Cameron on the 4 pillars, or just random about her own journey.
Yeah, anything you guys want to know, or any kind of follow-up tips. One thing I also have been doing lately that works is because when you see your list and you feel like you've been following up people forever, it's hard to like see. So I like my team to troubleshoot. Give me your hottest lead right now. What do you want? And they'll say, well, this person, this is their goal. This is, and you're now out of the box thinking about, you're not in the conversation, and you can be like, all right, you know what I think you should do? And like, it's helpful to kind of find your power partner and troubleshoot. Like, I feel like they've said this, I've sent this, I've done this. Do you have any recommendation? And it's great to kind of work on following up, because you really want your follow-ups to be diverse. And so it's not the same thing every time, the same way of contacting people, because they'll just stay in the witness protection program, the WPP.
Yep. And I would just say, like, she's talking about even a conversation probably we had this morning. I mean, have a customer that has been struggling with weight loss, and something that we talked about is she had someone do just ease for a month because she was really suffering with inflammation. And if you have inflammation, your body will not allow you to lose weight. And her customer was able to lose weight. So I think really asking the right questions when you're doing this follow-up, or, if it is a customer or an ambassador, if they're struggling or troubleshooting, ask the right questions. Find out if, okay, maybe they're not eliminating regularly still. Like, okay, what do we need to tweak? And I feel like so many of us are like, oh, you get that response of, oh, it's not going really well from a customer, which I've had. Well, going back to them and saying, okay, well, we need to talk. We need to get on the phone. I need to hear from you. I have so many questions. I want to help you be successful with these products. Then you get so much more, well, I didn't really do a good job in July and August. I was inconsistent. It was summer, but I really want to get back on the program. And you go back and forth and you get that follow-up dialogue. I have someone who wants to do the back to school boot camp with me now, who wanted to give up. So, and again, it's just that follow-up and troubleshooting is exactly what Cameron said. You will help save those white lines and save your business by following up. So what other questions do you guys have for Cameron? Anything?
I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
I am curious how you go about finding new people if you feel like your sort of warm lead prospects have been exhausted, if you've been doing this for a little while.
Sure. Get this question. I've just had my team retreat and we talked about this a whole lot. So I have a few little tips to do. First, one day, just sit down with a glass of wine or coffee, whatever you need to do, or your slim, and go to your Facebook friends and then click on all friends and go through them all. Redo your list and start there. And I promise you'll get there and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that person. Oh my gosh, that person. And just redo. I could only get through like M, and I had to stop. And then the next month I went through and I went Z to M. And you could do that on a monthly basis, and you will catch people that you forgot about. And then also, I have like on my list on my iPhone, my leads list. And so if I'm running around, I'm looking through and I randomly see a post by somebody that I was like, oh yeah, that person, I'll put them on my list for later. So I have it on my phone, because it teaches you to start watching your Facebook for the like random shares and posts. So that's just for your Facebook friends there. I also try to think of ways to get into different groups. If you're interested in makeup, for example, I have a girl that's a makeup artist. I'm like, go join a ton of makeup groups on Facebook. There's groups for everything now. You can't go in there and blast blast Plexus and things, but you can post like, hey, I'm in Austin, I need some friends who's in Austin, and you can become Facebook friends. Or, hey, I'm really interested in having more makeup friends, and add people, get people on Friends. And I'm in a group called Girls Love Travel. There's room for all of us in there because there's 80,000 women in there that travel around the world that need the freedom of time. Cha-ching. And every once in a while they'll post like, hey, I'm new, can we get new friends? And I went through and I added a bunch of people and I made a list, and I'm not cold messaging them about Plexus. I'm watching their Plexus posts. This is why consistency is important. I also have a problem with garden analogies. I love garden analogies. So with consistency, you're constantly throwing seeds, and the more seeds you put out, the more you'll have a harvest. So if you really like tomatoes one year, and you plant one tomato plant, you're going to get this many tomatoes. But if you really love tomatoes, you might plant 5 tomato plants and you're going to get more. So when you're in these Facebook groups, add people as friends and don't pounce on them. Like, message them. And, hey, that was an awesome trip. What was it like? Or congrats on the wedding. And you're starting to just build those relationships with people. And it's free networking right there. And the good news is that you're networking with people that you like. You know, I don't really wear makeup, so I'm not going to join a makeup group because I'll be like, who loves chapstick? Anybody? No, okay. So you go to these groups, things that you like, so you're around people that like you. And so I'm in canyoneering groups and things like that. So I'm around people with stuff that I like to do. So if you join groups like that, so that's a great one. Dog, cat groups, whatever. Just think about things that your hobbies, your interests, join those groups.
Are there wine groups?
We should start one. Yeah. we can get that filled up really fast. And then I also like, what I have challenged myself for my team lately is, it was funny, one of my team members came to me and she's like, yeah, I really want to do this, but she's 22. She goes, all my friends eat Taco Bell and live on couches. So I need new friends to do this too. And so we talked, I go, what have you always wanted to do? Whether it's to play the banjo or learn to do this, like write a list of like bucket list things that you want to learn yourself. Like I went to jewelry making class. I've always wanted to learn to make jewelry. And I did it because I wanted to do it. And then I had like one girl and I were still talking back and forth about getting on. So it's about expanding your network with things you're interested in. So if you have a skill you've always wanted to learn or a hobby you've always wanted to try, go join and meet people. And it's really good for me because it makes me get out and do stuff and get out of the house rather than sit at home with my wine. I go out and have wine with people, and I have wine at home too. But it's just about finding ways. I would not put myself, you guys probably aren't going to join a trad climbing group, of Yosemite National Park. But if you did, that would be awesome. Find me. But find things that you like to do, and you'll be around people that you have common interest with and become friends with, and you're expanding your network by finding people of things, whether it's Facebook groups. Go out in the community and join things. There's also events that you can do, booths or things at schools or at a gym or whatever. But health classes are a great one to go to. Those group fitness classes. I go to Orange Theory Fitness, and I had just moved to Salt Lake. I didn't know anybody, so I was tired of going by myself. So I looked at the person. I was like, hey, I don't know anybody here. You want to run with me? And it was just, it made me do it. And I was like, plus I'm going to add you on Facebook and you'll be on Plexus in 3 months. So this is great. So it teaches you to kind of just be active and about all the time. Does that make sense?
Yep. Anyone else? Any questions? Awesome. I love this idea, and this is like, I love the just expanding the network. Like, I think it's so important. I mean, especially even just like, I want to take a cooking class or something like, and for me, having just moved and like not wanting to get out of the house, it's probably a good idea that I do that kind of stuff. So, good night, Michelle. Yeah, so it's awesome. I really appreciate you doing this, and I know there's going to be a lot more that watch this, and I'll be sure to give you some feedback. We're going to do some challenges here in the next few days, and not even just challenges, just some support groups, really, some threads and things, just to kind of see how we can get going on these 4 pillars. So
you just inspired me for an idea for my team. I'm going to go to my page and make a thing about expanding the network. And the cooking class, didn't even think about that. Been wanting to do that myself. Because microwaving gets tiresome sometimes. But making a list, like putting it out there, like, guys, what are some things you always want to do? And like make a list for the team, like cooking class, this class, whatever, because, you know, there might be somebody who says like, yeah, I did want to do that. Or, oh, that actually sounds cool.
Right.
So like making a list of ways to expand your network.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll just watch it on your page and then copy it on mine, because that's what you do with Power Partners.
That is awesome. The best part.
It is. All right. Awesome. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Night, guys.
Night.